Okay, so want to really get into the AI revolution, how it's going to change basically everything. We're doing a deep dive into the 2024 Stanford AI Index report today.
Yeah.
And it's got a ton of research, data, expert analysis, all on AI. And get this, we're not just talking about like automating tasks here, right?
Right.
We're talking big picture changes to how we work, live, solve problems, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, it's interesting because the report goes beyond, kind of like the hype. We're
Yeah.
really seeing like hard data, not just speculation.
Yeah.
And I think what I find fascinating is it dives into like the nitty-gritty of the explosion of new AI models, like the economic forces that are driving this growth, and even some of the challenges that come with this, really fast technological advancement.
It does feel very much like an explosion when you look at the numbers. I mean,
Yeah.
the report uses this phrase AI boom,
Yeah.
and it says that in 2023 alone, we saw more than double the number of foundation models released compared to 2022.
Wow.
Now, for those of us who aren't, living and breathing AI jargon every day, what exactly is a foundation model?
Sure. So think of it this way. Foundation models are like the heavy hitters of the AI world.
Okay.
These are large-scale models. They're trained on these massive, massive data sets.
Okay.
And they really form the backbone of a lot of the AI applications that we're interacting with today.
Okay.
And so, some of the big names you hear, like GPT-4,
Yeah.
that's a prime example of a foundation model.
GPT-4 is a really good example because it seems like every other day there's a news story about something amazing that it can do.
Yeah.
But,
It can write you a poem. It can analyze your stock portfolio.
The report highlights this thing, though, right?
Yeah.
It's like the elephant in the room or maybe the massive data center in the room.
Right.
These models are insanely expensive to train.
They're incredibly resource intensive.
Yeah.
So the report gives an example. Training GPT-4
Yeah.
cost a staggering $78 million.
78 million.
It's just to train it.
That's not even to build the thing.
That's to teach it.
That's just to teach it how to think.
Yeah, and get this. Google's Gemini Ultra,
Okay.
another one of these big foundation models, cost a whopping $191 million just to train.
$191 million to train one of these things.
That's just the cost of training.
I mean, that's a level of investment that's got to be out of reach
Yeah.
for most companies, most research institutions. I mean, is this leading us toward a future where AI innovation is just dominated by
It's a great question. And I think
a few tech giants with really deep pockets?
it's a valid concern.
Yeah.
Because when you have such a high barrier to entry, it naturally limits who can play.
Yeah.
Right? And so this concentration of resources and expertise could have, who knows what kind of implications on where AI goes.
It really makes you wonder, too, about the global landscape of this, right?
Yeah.
Like, who else is in this race
Right.
to build these top-tier AI models?
Absolutely.
Does the report tell us anything about that?
It does. And this is interesting. According to the AI Index, the U.S. is currently leading the charge
Okay.
in terms of the sheer number of top AI models being produced.
Okay.
So they're outpacing both China and the EU.
Interesting.
But it's not just about how many models, it's also how these models are being developed and used.
That's a great point.
Right.
So we have this AI boom happening.
Yeah.
It's very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. is currently in the lead.
Yeah.
But how is this actually impacting us, like, in our day-to-day lives?
Right.
I mean, the report talks a lot about the impact of AI on the job market, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the most immediate and significant impacts of AI like that we're seeing is in the workplace.
Yeah.
In the U.S. alone, over 1.5% of all job postings are now looking for AI skills.
1.5%.
1.5%
It doesn't sound like a lot, but that's across all industries, right?
across the board.
Yeah.
And that number is really expected to rise.
Are there any, like, specific fields or regions that are seeing, like, the biggest surge
Yeah,
in AI jobs?
I think you're right. 1.5% represents like a pretty significant portion of jobs that are requiring these skills.
Yeah.
Unsurprisingly, California is leading the pack in the U.S. with the highest concentration of AI job postings.
Makes sense.
But the report does point out that Texas is quickly emerging as a major hub for AI talent as well.
Interesting.
And this isn't just a U.S. phenomenon.
Okay.
LinkedIn's data shows that globally, countries like Australia, Canada, Singapore, India
Wow.
are all experiencing a pretty significant surge in AI hiring as well.
It's like a global gold rush for AI talent.
It really is.
But it seems like finding those skilled workers is a challenge.
Yeah.
Across the board, whether it's software engineering, healthcare education.
It's true.
Is AI contributing to that problem, or is it more complicated than that?
It's definitely more nuanced.
Okay.
It's not as simple as, AI is taking jobs or creating jobs. What we're seeing is that there's this huge demand for AI skills, but there's this growing gap
Okay.
between the skills that companies actually need and what people are being trained for.
Interesting.
And the report actually calls this a skills gap.
Okay.
And it's something that needs to be addressed if we really want to unlock the full potential of AI.
So it's not even just about robots replacing humans.
All right.
It's about preparing for a future where humans and AI are working side by side.
You're right.
And that requires a whole new set of skills and knowledge.
Absolutely. It's not just about coding or understanding algorithms.
Yeah.
It's about adaptability,
Yeah.
problem solving, the ability to work effectively with AI systems.
So we've got the boom, we've got these big players,
Yeah.
the impact on jobs.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to take in.
That's a lot.
What I'm really curious about is how is AI actually being used to tackle some of these big, hairy challenges
Right.
that we're facing in the world today?
Are we going to solve climate change with this?
Exactly. Does
Yeah.
the report get into that at all?
It absolutely does.
Okay.
And this is where I think it starts to get really, really interesting.
Okay.
AI is no longer just confined to the digital realm.
Okay.
It's being applied to real-world problems from, things like combating climate change
Right.
to even revolutionizing healthcare.
So give us an example. What are some of the ways that AI is being used to make a difference?
So one area where AI is showing incredible promise is in the fight against climate change.
Okay.
The report talks about how scientists are now using AI to predict floods with greater accuracy,
Okay.
which could be absolutely crucial for mitigating the impact of natural disasters.
That's incredible. It seems like we're always playing catch up when it comes to natural disasters. So the idea that AI could give us a head start is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's really about leveraging the power of data analysis and prediction, right, to make more informed decisions. And another area where AI is making waves is in energy management.
Okay.
You can imagine using AI to optimize energy grids, make them more efficient, reduce our reliance on fossil fuels.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Especially now when we're trying to transition to cleaner energy sources.
Exactly. And it's not just about mitigating the negative, right?
Right.
AI can also be used to accelerate the development of sustainable solutions.
Okay.
The report talks about AI being used to design more eco-friendly buildings, for instance,
Interesting.
or to optimize transportation systems for reduced emissions.
Okay, so AI is helping us fight climate change,
Yeah,
which is obviously a massive win for humanity.
absolutely.
What about healthcare? What's AI's role in that field?
Healthcare is another sector where AI is really poised to have, I think, a transformative impact.
Okay.
We're already seeing it being used to improve medical imaging,
Okay.
helping doctors detect diseases like cancer at earlier stages.
Wow.
Imagine being able to diagnose conditions more accurately and even personalize treatment plans based on someone's, genetic makeup or their lifestyle factors.
That sounds like something out of a science fiction novel.
It's pretty amazing.
Personalized medicine tailored to your specific needs.
It's becoming a reality.
Wow.
And it goes beyond just, diagnosis and treatment.
No.
AI is also being used to accelerate drug discovery,
Okay.
which could lead to breakthroughs in treating diseases that are currently incurable.
It's exciting to think about the possibilities,
Yeah,
but I imagine there are also challenges and potential downsides to consider.
right. Always.
We talked about the skills gap
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to AI jobs.
Yeah,
Does that also apply to fields like healthcare?
sure.
Do we have enough doctors and researchers who understand how to use these advanced AI tools effectively?
That's a great question. And it highlights one of the key challenges, I think, of integrating AI into these existing industries.
Okay.
It's not enough to simply develop the technology,
Right.
right? We also need to invest in training and education
Okay.
to make sure that people have the skills and knowledge to use it responsibly and effectively.
Yeah.
And this applies to healthcare, of course, but it's also relevant to things like finance and education and manufacturing. Any industry that's being touched by AI needs to figure this out.
So it's not just about teaching people how to code.
Right.
It's about equipping them with a broader understanding of how AI works,
Mm-hmm.
how it can be applied to their specific field.
Absolutely. It's about fostering what some experts call AI literacy,
Okay.
which involves understanding the basics of AI, recognizing its potential biases, being able to critically evaluate its outputs.
So we need to empower people to be informed users and developers of AI.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
We wouldn't want people blindly trusting these AI systems
Right.
without understanding their limitations.
Right. You got to be a critical user.
Okay, so we've talked about how AI is being used to solve big problems in climate change and healthcare. But what about its impact on other aspects of society?
Right.
The report mentions something called extreme AI risks.
Yeah, this is the scary stuff.
What are those, and should we be worried?
So extreme AI risks are these hypothetical scenarios where AI systems could potentially pose, these very significant threats to humanity,
Oh, yeah.
even leading to things like existential risks.
Existential risks,
Yeah.
like robots taking over the world kind of stuff.
I understand the association.
Yeah.
And while those Hollywood scenarios might seem a bit far-fetched today,
Right.
it's important to remember that AI is evolving at this crazy pace.
Yeah.
So it is prudent to at least consider what the potential long-term implications could be of these increasingly powerful AI systems.
So it's like better safe than sorry?
I think so.
Even if the chances of a Terminator-style scenario are slim, we should still be thinking about how to prevent it.
Exactly. We want to be proactive, not reactive.
Okay.
And the report really emphasizes the importance of establishing these really robust safety measures,
Okay.
ethical frameworks, governance structures for AI development and deployment.
What kind of things are we talking about here?
So this would include things like ensuring human oversight of AI systems,
Promoting transparency and accountability in AI development, and really fostering international collaboration on AI safety research.
It sounds like a really complex and multifaceted challenge,
It is.
especially with AI evolving so rapidly.
Yeah, it's a fast-moving target,
Okay.
but it's a challenge we need to address head-on.
Yeah.
The potential benefits of AI are enormous, but so are the potential risks.
Okay.
We need to find ways to harness this power while also safeguarding against the potential downsides.
That makes sense.
Right.
It's a bit like splitting the atom.
Ooh, good analogy.
We figured out how to harness its power for good,
Yeah,
but not without some pretty serious risks along the way.
for sure. And I think what this highlights is the need for this ongoing dialogue
All right.
and collaboration between policymakers and researchers and industry leaders and the public. This isn't just a technical challenge.
Right.
It's a societal one.
So how do we even begin to prepare for a future where AI is so deeply intertwined with our lives? It's a great question. And I think one crucial aspect of this is education.
Okay.
As we talked about earlier, it's not just about training the next generation of AI specialists,
Right.
although that's important. It's also about fostering AI literacy amongst the general public.
AI literacy.
AI literacy, yeah.
You mentioned that earlier. What does that actually look like in practice?
So it's about equipping people with a basic understanding of how AI works,
Okay.
its potential benefits, its risks, and its ethical implications.
Okay.
Think of it as like a new form of digital literacy that's essential for navigating this increasingly AI-driven world.
So it's about empowering people to be informed citizens in this new era of AI.
Exactly.
Okay.
AI literacy is going to enable people to participate in these discussions about AI, to make conscious choices about the AI-powered products and services that they use,
Right.
and even advocate for policies that promote responsible AI development.
So it sounds like AI literacy is not just about technical knowledge. It's also about critical thinking and ethical awareness.
Absolutely. We need to equip people with the skills to look at AI claims and say, is that really true?
Interesting.
Right. Discern between the hype and the reality and understand the potential consequences of AI deployment in all these different contexts.
So it's about fostering a sense of both excitement and caution.
Exactly. We need both.
Okay.
AI has this potential to solve some of the world's most pressing challenges,
Right.
but we need to approach it with both enthusiasm and a healthy dose of skepticism.
The report also highlights the growing field of AI governance.
Yes.
What does that entail?
So AI governance refers to the development of frameworks and policies and regulations to guide the responsible development and deployment of AI. It's about establishing these guardrails to ensure that AI benefits humanity and doesn't lead to unintended consequences.
So it's about creating rules of the road for AI. So kind of like that, yeah.
It's about addressing things like data privacy, algorithmic bias, the potential misuse of AI for malicious purposes.
Right.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
It requires everyone to work together, governments, industry leaders, researchers, even just everyday people.
So it's not a set it and forget it kind of thing.
No. It's got to be an ongoing process, right?
Yeah.
AI keeps changing, so our rules got to keep up.
So we need to be adaptable, proactive,
Exactly.
and really committed to finding solutions that promote both innovation and responsibility.
100%.
So it's not about like stifling AI development.
Right.
It's about guiding it in a direction that actually benefits humanity.
I think that's a great way to put it.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We really have.
It's been fascinating to kind of explore like where AI is at right now,
Yeah.
how it could change the job market,
Yeah.
how it's being used to tackle some of these huge problems that we're facing.
Yeah. Climate change, healthcare.
But I think what's really clear is that this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What's next?
Well,
What should we be keeping an eye on as AI continues to evolve at this crazy pace?
I think one of the most exciting and potentially totally transformative areas of AI research is the pursuit of artificial general intelligence,
Okay.
or what they call AGI.
AGI, yeah.
Yeah, and this is like the holy grail of AI.
Okay.
Creating systems that can do any intellectual task that a human can.
So we're not just talking about AI that can do specific tasks.
Right.
We're talking about AI that can think and learn like a human.
That's the dream,
Wow.
right? That's the big goal.
That's both exhilarating and a little intimidating.
A little bit, yeah.
What's the timeline on something like that? When are we going to see AGI become a reality?
It's tough to say for sure.
Yeah.
AGI is still pretty far off.
Okay.
And there are lots of different opinions on how to even define it or measure it, but it's definitely attracting a ton of investment, and some of the smartest people on the planet are working on this.
So it's not a matter of if, but when.
I think that's a good way to look at it. And I think it really highlights why it's so important to be having these conversations now about AI safety, ethics, governance.
Right.
We got to be ready for a future where AI is a much bigger part of our lives, for better or worse.
It's a lot to think about.
It is a lot.
But it's been incredible exploring the world of AI with you today.
Likewise, I've really enjoyed this conversation.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the biggest takeaway for me, and hopefully for everyone listening, is that we're not just passive bystanders in this technological revolution.
We're writing the story.
We have a responsibility to engage with these issues, to educate ourselves about AI, and to really help shape its development.
I couldn't agree more.
So to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
Thanks, everyone.
And we'll see you next time for another fascinating look at the ideas and innovations that are shaping our world.